First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for making my father-in-law homeless because he doesn't respect my job? Because of the divorce of his second wife and the pandemic, my father-in-law had difficulties to find a new home, and we offered to take him in. I studied to become a teacher and started very fresh with this job. It's complicated because I have to do everything online, but I love it. I work from home. We have a guest room, but before father-in-law moved in, I said to him that I have to work from this room. My desk, books, and everything is there, and if that would be a problem, he can stay in the living room. He said it's not a problem. Since the day he moved in, the drama begun. He makes comments about how useless my subjects are: history, politics, and philosophy. He was a policeman, but he got a health issue, so it doesn't work anymore. He said the children should learn things that help society and not become dumb philosophers. I tried to explain him what we talk and discuss in these lessons, but he didn't listen. Then he started ranting to my partner, when he is home, how teachers are overpaid because they only have to babysit children, and everybody can do that. He, as a father, saw himself as a teacher too, for his sons, and he didn't need a degree or that much money. I'm from Europe, Germany, and yes, I'm happy with the pay, but it's not like it makes me rich. My partner said to him that is not true and ended the discussion. Then he came in the guest room while I had a Zoom meeting in the morning with a beer in his hand and only a shirt and boxer shorts. I was super angry and disappointed. I talked to him later about this and said that it makes a false impression for my students. He disagreed and said it's his room. We discussed it for hours, but it was a wasted time. I often drive to my students to bring them a copy from the stuff we do if they don't have access to the internet or no way to print it. My father-in-law said that I'm overdoing it because he's here, and that teachers are lazy and have too much free time. I tried to tell him politely how much work teachers who love their job have, but he didn't listen. Next day, when I left the room for 2 minutes to get something for the Zoom meeting, he went in the guest room and chatted with my students. They were all really uncomfortable about my subjects and how useless they are. I had enough. I said to him that I get he's on a low point in his life, but this was one step too far. He said, if you can't master your own father-in-law, how will you master 25 kids? And I said to him that I don't need to master adults. I told him to leave, and when my partner came back, he stood by my decision. When my father-in-law was away, he told me he found me too harsh and that it's kind of an a-hole move to kick him out because he makes bad jokes about my job. His younger brothers called us later, hearing the story from their dad, and told us we will never be invited again in their households after we prove that family isn't important to us. Now for the top comments. Not an a-hole. Him doing that on Zoom could lead to consequences for you at your job. Also, ironic that he thinks philosophy makes you dumb. As a fellow teacher, 100% this. You can be sacked for this. The parents would cause a scene about this, and the teacher involved would be sacked for this. You need to lock the door when you're on Zoom teaching. This is unacceptable behavior, and people like that don't understand just how hard us teachers work. They think it's babysitting and chill, but they don't see us sitting there right up until the 6 p.m. deadline, entering the date at 5:59 p.m., trying to get it done or it's your head on the blocks, or staying up until midnight to finish planning, and then getting up at 5:30 a.m. to get into school early to set up, etc. It's hard work. Not at a-hole. Please send the rest of the family an update as to how your father-in-law behaved and why you had to kick him out. He will burn you for kicking him out. You have every right to share the exact reasons with family and friends. Don't be a scapegoat. You protected yourself, your work, your students, and your home by kicking him out. You did a decent thing. No kidding. If he wants to play the family card, they have every right to tell the truth to the family members. How the father-in-law treats family by blatantly disrespecting someone who took them in and gave them shelter, and who deliberately jeopardized their job by sabotaging his teaching. He doesn't have to genuflect to OP every day, but it's not asking a lot to not openly ridicule someone for their interests and not interfere with one's legitimate job. Yeah. Who needs history and politics lesson to help today's society? And what's to learn from German history anyway? Oh wait. Not a a-hole. Cheers from Berlin and thank you for your service. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he chose his wife but I didn't? So, my dad has been married to his wife, Regina, fake name, since I was 10. I have issues with her that just get ignored, so I do my best to keep to myself and not start fights or be rude. Basically, I am civil but try to avoid her the best way I can. She and my dad don't like that, and she has tried to bond with me a lot in the last 6 years. I'm 16 female, by the way. My dad decided we all needed to go to therapy because it wouldn't be good for my half-brother to grow up in a family where we're not close. We started therapy in October, and we have seen, I think, 3 different therapists since then. This current one he likes, so we're staying put. But sessions are basically him just saying what the issues are, what fix he wants, and telling me I need to put more effort into this family. Then 2 sessions ago, he said that we chose to make Regina part of this family, so we need to do what we can to make this work for everyone. I told him that he chose Regina, but I didn't, and that I get it. As the kid, I don't get that power, but I told him I could not say I chose her. He told me I did. I pointed out that I actually told him I didn't like her before they got married and I didn't want him to marry her. He did it anyway. I'm not bitter about it. By now I get that it was his choice, but it annoyed the crap out of me when he made it sound like I actively wanted her. The therapist doesn't really say or do anything except ask me why I feel that way and why not give her a chance, so there's not much point there. My dad told me it was rude and mean-spirited to say I didn't choose her in front of Regina and in front of the therapist. He told me that the wedding was us choosing her. I told him if that's what he believed, then go right ahead. But I never did choose Regina. Regina also couldn't believe I didn't choose her and has been upset and crying for the last 2 weeks. She said she didn't understand what she did. Except I did tell her and my dad before, and it was ignored. It was also ignored in one session with a different therapist, and even though that therapist did try to explore it, we never saw him again after that session. Am I the a-hole? And because people will ask, my issues with her started when she moved in first. She made comments about my mom leaving me, but she didn't. She's just unable to take care of me after an accident left her disabled, and she's in a nursing to get around-the-clock care. Then, she talked about adopting me due to abandonment before they were married. She told me she would like it if I called her mom, so we could feel more like a real family. There was a 2-year period of that. Then she got pissed at my grandparents for taking me to see my mom during my visitation with them, and made a huge stink out of it. And then she was pissed when they gave me my mom's locket that she had wanted me to have eventually, though I'm guessing not under the circumstances, because she wanted to give me one with a photo of her and my dad. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. You can't be forced to like her. And it sounds like your dad is deliberately choosing therapists that don't listen to you. That's likely to be counterproductive. It took 3 therapists to find the one that agrees with him, and yet he still thinks it's his daughter with a problem. Lol. Not the a-hole. You should not be going to a therapist and lying. How good a therapist is this if the best she can say is to give this lady a chance and not stop your dad from telling you what you chose? Yeah, not the best one. We had a good one, and we left after things started being revealed. I see. This situation is very toxic. You don't take someone to therapy to make them do what you want. You take them to therapy to understand them better. I'm sorry you're in this situation. Not the a-hole. This is therapy. If there's anywhere you should be able to express your feelings, it's there. Your father doesn't want to work out the issues. He thinks you're the problem. You're broken and need to be fixed. He wants you to comply. He wants to make Regina happy whether you like it or not. He is putting her over you, and you will go through therapists until he finds one that agrees with him. Regina sounds all kinds of messed up, like she tried to erase your mother's existence. As soon as you can, move out. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my ex move into my flat? I, 32 female, recently inherited a house from my grandparents. I moved in along with my 2-year-old daughter about a month ago, and have been looking for a boarder for the downstairs apartment. It is fully self-contained, but I want to be picky about the tenant as we are close to a university, and I don't want any loud parties or music late at night, so I'm offering it for very cheap. $150 a week. Market for similar in this area is $250 to $350. With some conditions like no loud music after 8 p.m., no gatherings of more than 7 people, etc., etc. Nothing that I think is particularly unreasonable. My ex, who I dated when I was 22 to 26, was one of the first applicants and came to the first viewing that I conducted. I told him before the viewing that I thought he would be wasting his time to come as I didn't think he would be a good fit. He throws regular large parties, plays loud music, etc. In the 4 years I knew him, he was kicked out of multiple flats for not being considerate of others. He is also extremely controlling. During the flat viewing, he tried to tell other people that he was definitely taking the place, and was constantly telling me where he wanted furniture moved to, and which pieces I'd have to put in storage so he can move his stuff in. After the second viewing, where he showed up unannounced, I told him that I had someone very interested and he couldn't move in. This was a white lie, as I had a few interested but no one committed yet. 2 weeks later, I re-advertised and he immediately started hassling me again. And I told him that I would absolutely never rent to him, so to leave me alone. He flipped his crap, hassling me about my daughter needing a father, that I was biased against him, etc. I ended up blocking him because he was calling all hours of the night to hassle me. Now, friends of both of us are at me to give him a second chance, and I'm starting to feel guilty. It's been 6 years since we split. Maybe he's changed and I dismissed him without consideration. Am I the a-hole here? He is not the father of my daughter. She was conceived using a sperm donor and a surrogate. I have a family history of cervical cancer, and when I was 25 or 26, I had a couple of smears that showed abnormal precancerous cells. Ex didn't want kids ever, and didn't want to go through cancer treatments, so we split up. I spent a couple years dating, but was diagnosed with cervical cancer when I was 27. I had eggs collected, and then had a full hysterectomy. After I was through with treatment and in the all clear, I arranged a surrogate and my daughter was born. Now for the top comments. Why would you give a chance to this guy? He's clearly still a massive jerk, harassing you over this. He obviously hasn't changed. Not the a-hole. What Opie needs to give him is a restraining order. Not the a-hole. I mean, his current behavior alone shows exactly why he should never, ever be your tenant. Ever. And his previous behavior's even worse. Who wants loads of parties held in their home when there's a small child around? Yeah, he's trying to be controlling now, and he doesn't even live there. Not the a-hole. And remember, no is a complete sentence. Don't even give an excuse or reason. You owe him nothing. Every response from now on needs to be a simple no, not one word more. Not the a-hole. Never rent to this guy. Tell your friends to stuff it. Terrible red flags all over the place. If you rent to him, you'll never get him out of your business. He clearly feels entitled to you and your environment. He is behaving like a stalker. The last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not changing my rules and terminating care? I have a home daycare. I like to think I'm pretty lenient, but I do have one big rule. Don't make me the bad guy. I understand we might have different rules, but don't make your child resent me by not backing me up. Anyway, another rule is I don't allow outside toys or electronics. Kids can bring a stuffed animal for a nap if they're sleeping in rest mats, but I don't want to be responsible if something gets broken. Years ago, I used to let kids bring whatever. Then a cheap McDonald's toy broke by accident. Kid was upset and mom got mad at me. So now, it's a hard rule. Most are okay with it, but I have a new kid, 3, whose mom wanted him to bring his tablet because he needs it. I said sorry, but no. I'm not going to be responsible for it. We went back and forth, but finally she just says fine. But every morning, he's crying because she took his tablet from him in the car. She always gives me this look and says, Miss Lucy says no tablet. I always try to say we have plenty of toys, but the kid spends the whole morning sulking. I've talked to mom, asked her to leave it at home and not even put it in the car, but she says he needs it. It's been a month, and yesterday was the last straw that broke the camel's back. Kid came in crying, as usual. I tried my usual redirection, which didn't work. Mom was giving me a look of, see what you did? Then she had the nerve to say to him, I know you need your tablet. We've talked about this before. Miss Lucy is strict. That pissed me off. I ended up telling her to take him home right then and there. She was shocked and tried to stammer. He was my first kid of the day, so there was no scene. I just handed back his backpack. I said he was no longer a student of mine, and began to pack his extra clothes and a sippy cup he kept. Mom was in tears as she left. My husband thinks she was right. I'm too strict and should have broken policy instead of causing drama. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Tell your husband to watch the kid. That kid has problems if he's already addicted to that tablet. $10 says he needs it. Means I don't want to have to engage him, so I shut him up with electronics. Or tell your husband you are paying for another tablet that got ruined at your house. I have never heard of a daycare or preschool that allows expensive personal electronics, unless a child is disabled. Not the a-hole. If her only explanation was that he needs it without any context or information, then she knew your rules before enrolling her kid. She can't expect people to bend to her every whim. I agree. If she indicated it was used as a communication tool for a child with language delays / inability to communicate otherwise, that would be a totally different story. Not the a-hole. She had an entire month to explain to this kid that there can be no electronics at daycare. She chose to act like it was a big deal every single morning, so of course kid is going to act that way. Obviously, she wasn't even trying to follow the rules. You did right. In situations like this, you give an inch and they will take a mile. Or someone else will demand an exception. It becomes too hard to keep up with it all. Anyone with a sob story will get you to waver. You are doing the right thing to just stop it now. Your husband is kind of being a jerk about it. Why should you bend the rules for this one kid? What does he care? I'm sure you can find someone to take his place. What kind of example does it set for all of the other kids? Also, a 3-year-old should not need any electronic whatsoever. Kid is a toddler. Should not be that attached to a screen. She probably never actually parents that kid. I'm sure the tablet does all the work for her. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my boyfriend's 19-year-old daughter? My boyfriend of 3 years moved into my home 3 weeks ago after his lease went up, and he was unable to renew the price hike they expected. His rent was $1,600 for a 2-bedroom, and upon signing a new lease, they said it was now $2,400. I have a 3-bedroom home and one son, 11. Both his room and my room have an attached bathroom. The guest room does not. We have lived here for 5 years, and I bought it last year. My boyfriend has a 19-year-old daughter named Jess who visits him on the weekends and lives at home with her mother. Literally never had any issues with her, up until my boyfriend moved in. When he moved in, Jess started becoming this witchy snob, who had demand after demand that she fully expected me to meet. Like, she wanted me to kick my son out of his room so she could have the room with an attached bathroom, stating that a boy didn't need a bathroom as much as a girl did. When I said, absolutely not, she got extremely rude and condescending whenever she was in my home. She also tried parenting my son on more than one occasion, telling him what he can and cannot watch on the TV, what he can and cannot snack on, etc. There have been times when he has tried talking to us, and Jess will butt in and say something about how kids are so freaking annoying. If I speak up to her, she says, "I don't believe I was talking to you," or roll her eyes at me. Bold for someone who does not pay any rent or food costs to be staying in my home. I told her father last week that either he gets a handle on his adult kid or she was getting booted to the curb. He immediately starts telling me I need to give her time because this is an adjustment for her, and that apparently she is having a hard time at her mom's house due to them arguing all the time. I told him that wasn't my problem, and that in my house, me and my son were not going to be treated like crap because she can't control her emotions and wants to take her resentment out on us. He said he would talk with her. His talk did nothing at all. In fact, she confronted me about it and said, "I don't know what game you're playing here, but respect is earned, not given, and I will not be granting you respect until you prove to me you deserve it." She then walks to the living room where my son was watching TV and takes the remote from him and tells him to move. At this point, I go in and immediately tell her to get out of my house. She tells me she isn't going anywhere because her dad lives here. So I end up calling her uncle, who is a police officer, and have her escorted from my house after she collected all her belongings. My boyfriend says I crossed a line, so I told him he can leave too. He currently isn't speaking to me, locked away in my bedroom. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. My boyfriend says I crossed a line, so I told him he can leave too. He currently isn't speaking to me, locked away in my bedroom. Well, I guess you see who Jess inherited her odious attitude from. Not stay home, hold firm. Edited to add, boyfriend has lived there 3 weeks. Check local laws to make sure he hasn't achieved tenant status, just in case you have to put a boot up his butt to put him out the door. It's in his best interest for him to leave upon being asked, because if he hangs around to be evicted, things will get even worse. He will not be able to get his own place with an eviction on his record. It's time to call Uncle Cop again. Not the a-hole. The daughter needs help regulating, and who knows what else. Not even getting along with her mother. The boyfriend needs to wake up about his role as a dad and boyfriend. You need to get them both out and evaluate if there's a relationship to salvage with a boyfriend. Not the a-hole. I don't know what game you're playing here, but respect is earned, not given. And I will not be granting you respect until you prove to me you deserve it. That goes both ways, little girl. Lol. I know that 19 is technically an adult, but she's acting like a spoiled little child. Opie, I think you handled this just fine. You took it up with a boyfriend first and asked him to fix it. Obviously, he didn't. So you followed through with the consequences you said there would be. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not paying for my brother's gender reveal party? Back in March, I had my gender reveal party at a hall. My husband and I paid for catering, decorations, desserts, centerpieces, and candy for candy buffet. The only thing we didn't do was the signs, which one of my brothers took care of as he is good with woodworking. My eldest brother has 2 children, 12 and 13, from his previous relationship, then got married and now has 2 more little ones, under 10. I have never met his new wife. They just got eloped in March and none of my family has met her. They are now 18 weeks pregnant and will find out about the baby's gender in a few weeks. I was talking to my dear husband and we decided to give them $800. My elder brother asked if we could throw him and his wife a gender reveal party instead at the same hall we did ours at. I said it was a little more than $800, considering the hall rental deposit, desserts, candy buffet, catering, baby shower favors, centerpiece flowers. I do have most of the stuff saved: centerpiece jars, tablecloths, candy buffet jars, and some games from the party. But he even wants a backdrop which my friend did for me for free. She would charge him $150 for this since he has family. He said he really wants this, and if everyone paid for it, we can make it happen. I suggested a smaller venue or even a luxury picnic. I have the decorations for that, and would be more than happy to set aside a portion of what we were going to give him from the $800 for the catering. He was taken aback, as he thought we were going to give him the $800 on top of the party. He said, "Stop being cheap. You guys have the money, and you have never done anything nice for me and my kids." This is true. I was going to university when he had his children, so I was always broke. But I'm not working at the moment. I'm on maternity leave, so checks are small, and the money is coming from my husband, who is not really close to my eldest brother. He called me a cheap a-hole and said I have money saved up, so stop holding back. Now, I don't want to give him anything, and my other brothers don't want to give him anything either. Am I the a-hole if I don't give him anything at all now for his crummy attitude? Edit added. I forgot to mention this is both a gender reveal / baby shower. Not the a-hole, and he can take his entitled, ungrateful butt out of here. I wouldn't give him anything. Thank you. I couldn't agree more. I know he is in a tight spot in regards to funds, which is why we were going to give him $800 for whatever he needed for his baby. I really don't mind doing a small luxury picnic for him, but didn't expect such a terrible attitude towards everything. My mom even suggested having a potluck so that we didn't have to spend any money on food, and he said that would look tacky. He wanted something really nice for him and his wife. I do have the funds, but I'm being careful as I'm on maternity leave and don't want to spend a lot at the moment. Get him condoms. He needs to stop having that many children and baby mamas if he's in such a bad spot. Regain his financial stability before having more kids. Lol, one of my brothers made that comment. A basket full of rubbers instead of baby clothes and diapers. What? Not a-hole. You don't owe your brother an expensive gender reveal party. If my brother pulled any of that, I'd say, oh, actually, my financial planner says it's best to set up a 529 for a kid. We'll do that once the baby's here, and make sure none of the money is accessible to someone with such terrible priorities in life. This is a beautiful idea, to open up a savings account. I'm assuming that's what a 529 is. Although then, knowing my brother will want an account for his other children, including the 2 that no one has even met yet. I just can't win. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for taking a joke too far and making my mom faint? I, 18 female, hate practical jokes because my parents love them. It was my 18th birthday last week, and it was the first time in 3 years that I was able to have friends and family over for my birthday party. My parents love practical jokes. You name it, they have done it to me or my older sisters. At each of my sister's 18th birthday parties, they pushed the birthday girl's head into the cake. I think this is stupid and a waste of cake. So, I talked to my friend Kyra, who is into cosplay and makeup. She is amazing, but she said not to post her Insta, and we came up with a plan. When my family was planning my party, I asked for them to please not push my face into the cake, and my parents agreed. So on the day of my party, I was ready. When my parents inevitably pushed my face into the cake, I stood up and screamed bloody murder and squeezed the fake blood pack in my hand that I was holding up to my eye with a candle stub between my fingers. It was awesome. Until my mom fainted and hit the ground hard. Everyone was looking at me and no one caught her. She is bruised up and her and my dad are angry with me. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your parents reaped what they sowed. You asked them to refrain, and they agreed not to do it, all of you knowing full well they'd do it anyway. You responded with a practical joke of your own. In fairness, it was a considerable escalation from getting cake on your face though. But ultimately, their terror and ensuing injuries could have been completely avoided had they merely kept their word. I'd argue that while it was a considerable escalation, it still wasn't uncalled for. It's a genuine concern, and better the parents learn not to do it from a practical joke than frantically driving a kid to the hospital. They were also asked not to do it, so yeah, that too. Yes, it may have been a practical joke, but it was also an unforgettable object lesson. Parents ought to be grateful, but that would mean admitting they're the a-holes. Or at the very bare minimum, if you're going to do a jerk thing like this, at least make sure it's safe. Why would you push someone's face who is not prepared into something with solid objects that are pointy? Why? Because idiots are idiots. I recently saw a video of someone trying to shove a guy's face into his birthday cake before he even blew out the candles. There were at least 8 dozen candles on a cake, probably more like 20. Dude tried to shove his face into a plate of fire. Fortunately, birthday boy resisted the push by locking his arms, and the entire glass table shattered instead. Next story. Am I the a-hole for going to my stepdaughter's birthday party instead of my son's graduation party? I, 46 male, have 2 sons, 20 Andy and 18 Sam, from my previous marriage. I got divorced from their mother about 7 years ago and have been in my stepdaughter, now 11, Emma's life for 6 years. I love her to death, and I see her as my own kid. Sam graduated back in June and was having a graduation party about a month later. But his party happened to be the same day as Emma's birthday party. She was really excited about her birthday and told me she wanted me to stay for her party. I said I'd try and call my son about it. The day before their parties, I told Sam I would try and stop by, but he kept insisting I come for the full thing. I told him I'd try, but Emma's birthday party is on the same day, and my wife and I have been planning it for over a month now. He just said okay and hung up the phone. Fast forward to the day of both parties. My wife said I should go to Sam's party. I was planning on doing so, but Emma told me she really wanted me to stay. I didn't want her to be sad at our party, so I agreed and told them I would just leave later. Emma's party was from 4 to 6 and Sam's from 4:30 to 7:30, so I was thinking I had plenty of time. I live over an hour away from my son, so I was planning to leave early. Anyway, I was helping my wife with a lot of stuff, taking care of the kids and other things. By then, it's already 6 p.m. and I feel bad. I have so many things to help my wife with for cleaning up, and since I live over an hour away, I know I can't make it. I did go to his graduation, so I assumed just going the day after to see him would be fine. Boy, was I wrong. I call him after that, and he practically goes insane, telling me he's extremely angry, saying I love Emma more than my biological kid and that I always forget about him. He then tells me he doesn't want me to come the next day and doesn't want me to talk to him. I haven't missed a lot of his events, so I feel like he's overreacting. I didn't go to his 18th birthday party because of a big meeting I had, and I get why he was mad about that. But this seems like an overreaction. I apologized to him, but he didn't accept it. My ex-wife and wife said I should have gone and that I was being an idiot. My oldest son says I always choose Emma over him, which is not true, and that I was being a horrible father. I do feel bad, but I lost track of time. He won't talk to me, and neither will my oldest son. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. My oldest son says I always choose Emma over him, which is not true. I don't know, my guy. In this case, you absolutely did choose Emma over him. It doesn't help that you say at least twice that he's overreacting, trying to negate his feelings on the issue. Also, why couldn't they push his stepdaughter's party forwards? She's 11. It's perfectly reasonable to do a 9 to 1 p.m. party or a 12 to 3. He's an hour from his son, so he could leave at 3 and get there by 4. There are 100 things he could have done, but he chose to screw his son over. Why couldn't they push stepdaughter's party forwards? This is what I don't get too. Like, Opie even says how he and his wife have been planning this party, so there's no reason they couldn't adjust the time frame to make it work for both kids. Opie, you're the a-hole. Not only that, but he knew about the double booking well in advance. Told Emma he'd talked to his son about it and then didn't until the night before both parties. I literally snorted at the flash forward after that. He made it into his 40s, with 2 adult children and on his second wife, while still thinking 12 hours is an appropriate amount of time to juggle this sort of scheduling? You're the a-hole, Opie, and your weaponized incompetence is juvenile. Last story, am I the a-hole for refusing to be a bridesmaid in my sister's wedding? I, 28 female, come from a big extended family. Including me and my sister, 23 female, there are 24 female cousins and 17 male cousins. Half of the cousins are already married. When the first one ever asked me to be a bridesmaid, I declined. When I attend a wedding, I want to have fun, eat food and dance. In exchange, I will get you a gift. I do not want to spend my energy, time and money on your big day. And when I get married, I will not have a bridal party, nor will I expect a bachelorette party. Well, all of the cousins understood. There were no hard feelings. And to be honest, with that many cousins, it wasn't even an issue. Now, my younger sister is getting married. She asked me to be a bridesmaid and I declined. And I did it very gently. I told her sorry, but with working full-time, being in the final stages of preparing my thesis and teaching some summer classes, that I would not make a good bridesmaid. Also, my sister is a total bridezilla. The dresses she's looking at for her party are $450. She expects a weekend bachelorette in Vegas with all the bells and whistles. And wants everyone to attend dance classes to learn this elaborate dance to surprise her with. I do not have the energy for all that nonsense. Now, she said I am not invited to her wedding. If I am not willing to put forth the effort to make her day perfect, then I do not deserve to be there. Honestly, I don't care. But my mom and some aunts are calling me an a-hole. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If I'm not willing to put forth the effort to make her day perfect, then I do not deserve to be there. You don't deserve to be there? Jesus, how full of herself can she be? After a comment like that, I wouldn't go to that wedding if she paid me. As if her wedding is the event of the year. As if Opie has probably already been to 20 weddings, where she can actually enjoy herself thanks to her cousins. But yeah, her sister's wedding is somehow going to be way better than those. Can you imagine how many actual weddings there are a year in that family? Not the a-hole. Just seeing how she reacted to your refusal, you know you made the right choice. Save yourself from all the rest of her BS. It might be a very small party if she keeps behaving like this. I think the mom and the aunts may have spoiled this younger sister. Now they can be her bridesmaids and take her to Vegas. Not the a-hole. Wedding parties have gotten ridiculous these days. We've gone from a bridal shower to a shower and a bachelorette party to a bachelorette weekend at an expensive destination. Not to mention the wedding day with a dress, shoes, hair, and makeup. If you know that it's more effort than you're willing to put forth, then you'd be an a-hole if you agreed to be in the wedding party.